Hi, I'm Chrissy from Motherhood, the Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and today we're going to talk about car seats. Now, why are we talking about car seats? It's not a product review in the sense that I'm talking about which car seat is better than the other. I'm talking about car seats for FOMO babies. If you don't know what a FOMO baby is, fear of missing out is the acronym. Kids who need to see everything and want to be part of everything. This also applies to kids who have colic and also kids who are high needs babies, those Dr. Sears, happiest baby on the block kind of babies. A lot of times there's a lot of overlap there. Today we're going to talk about which car seats are better for those kinds of kids. So I have taken some still pictures of the car seats that I have tried with two of my children. So here we go.
The two car seats we're going to be talking about today are the Graco Snug Ride 35 LX and the Maxi-Cosi Miko Max 30. You can find these anywhere on Amazon or Buy Baby, even Target I think has them. But I had started out with the Maxi-Cosi and then I went to the Graco Snug Ride for a couple of reasons. The first reason was depth. If you can see from this picture, and I will have other pictures for you to look at from other angles, that the Maxi-Cosi is a lot deeper. While from a safety standpoint, this looks like a really good thing where you have your child encased completely, their head is deep in there. For a FOMO baby, that's really worst case scenario because they really can't see very much when they look out. Here you can see my baby in the Maxi-Cosi and he's pretty deep in there, whereas here he is in the Graco, smiling funnily enough about him being able to see out. Now he is pretty big at this point. We've actually stopped using the infant car seats because I'm just a weakling and can't really carry him around anymore, but he really did appreciate this even more so when he was a smaller baby because he was able to see much better out of the Graco. Here you can see it in use so that you can see its function, and you can see that it's much easier for my baby to be able to see my older son, to watch what's going on. He can also really see well out the window with the Graco. Here you can see a side-by-side of my son's ability to look out of each car seat, and as you can see, there's a big difference between these two. Another thing to consider is car sickness. You know, we can't really know what babies are thinking or feeling because they can't communicate with us in that way, but we do know that children do get car sick at a very young age at times, and I've had family members talk about how important it was for their child when they were finally able to be turned around forward facing and how much of a game changer that was just because of car sickness. So if you have a child who's uncomfortable in the car sickness might be a reason, and being able to see out the window or be able to see out in general might also help them as well. The other huge difference between these two seats is the amount of fold that the child has in each one. This is the Miko Max, and it is definitely a little bit more scrunched up than the Graco. I don't know if you can tell, but here in the Graco, he's a lot less folded. This makes a huge difference in terms of abdominal comfort. If your child is colicky or if they have any diagnosed digestive issues like reflux, silent reflux, any of that stuff, it seemed like that was the biggest change as well for our son with switching to the Graco, because he was so much better. Like the next day, when he was in the Maxi-Cosi, he would scream from beginning to end in every car ride, regardless of the length. And when we switched to the Graco, that all stopped immediately. So I chalk it up to both of these things. Our son had really bad reflux, and his tummy was so much happier with the position in the Graco. Really quickly with our oldest son, he's 5. This was the seat that we had. It was the Britax Be Safe 35 Elite, which no longer is made. Here you can see the newer version of that. It's called the Britax Be Safe Gen 2, and it's, as you can see, a really deep seat, and it's also really, really bulky. It weighs 12 pounds, just the seat itself. So if you're adding a 10 to 15 pound baby in it by the end of your use of it, that's a lot of weight to be lugging around in a bulky seat like that. We abandoned the infant seat altogether because we just didn't think to look for a different seat when we had our older 5-year-old. But we just, at 5 months old, switched him to a convertible seat just because we couldn't be bothered like lugging around a giant seat that he hated and screamed and cried in all the time. That did make a huge difference for him when we went to the convertible seat, but it just was not as convenient, especially with a baby that young. When your baby's getting older, that makes more sense, but as a 5-month-old, we still really would have benefited from the bucket style seat. That's not to knock Britax as a brand. I love Britax. I love everything that they stand for, and I have only bought Britax larger seats, the convertible seats, and my son is in a Britax booster at this point, so I love Britax, nothing against them. Just for an infant seat, it didn't make a lot of sense for us and our needs. Other commentary about these two seats, just in my experience, was first price. The Maxi seat is about double the price of the Graco. That's why I kind of felt comfortable experimenting with the Graco because it was so much cheaper. However, I know that can be a make or break for some people. Weight of the seats was also a factor. I went out of my way with this baby to find the lightest seat I could on the market. And I kind of discounted Graco because I guess I was presumptuous and thought that Graco wasn't as great of a brand. So I ended up opting for the Maxi seat because it was pretty lightweight. It's about just under 9 pounds, the Maxi seat, whereas the Graco, however, it was 7.2 pounds. And that actually made a huge difference when it came to me carrying around the baby, especially once he got over 10 pounds. I started to struggle a little bit with carrying him around in this big bulky thing. So that was one factor. The other factor was size of the seats in general. The Maxi seat is definitely a lot longer and bulkier in the car, whereas the Graco, as you can see from this picture, is a lot shorter and sort of more petite. So it was a lot easier for my very tall husband to sit with the Graco behind the driver's seat or the passenger seat when he was in it than it was for the Maxi seat. So if you're a tall person, that might also fall into your decision making, or if you have a small car, that it was so much easier to fit the Graco in. So other things to consider as you're making your decision.
So there you have it. That's all from me today. I hope that this was helpful and this helps guide your decision making and choosing the right car seat for your FOMO, high needs, colicky baby.